Mother's Day. This has been a trying Mother's Day morning. Mother's Day is one of the times in the Black community, and I see now that it also happens in the Caucasian community, when the churches are full. I could not find a parking space this morning. So I've been riding around the block several times. All of the churches downtown are full. I have never had that problem when I come here. Thanks be to God that mothers are being honored. My sermon this morning I entitled, Who is a Mother? I know probably most of you in the audience, or all of you, I see very few people under the age of being able to be mothers, or mothers. As she said in the children's sermon, I'm not just talking about biological children this morning, or biological mothers. I'm speaking to adoptive mothers, surrogate mothers, mother-in-laws, and I call mine mother-in-love, or just people that nurture children or nurture younger people. You all are mothers, whether they're your birth children or not. I chose this sermon, this scripture with Ruth this morning because of the experience that I have had, the same experience that Naomi had. I, born and reared between North Carolina and New York, was always with my mother or my grandmothers, was brought to Fort Benning, Georgia about 44 years ago, didn't know anybody but my husband and my 7 children. My mother passed 31 years ago, so I no longer call North Carolina home. I do go back now and then to visit those 5 brothers that are still living. But once Mom was gone, it wasn't home anymore. I didn't have a specific place to go to drop my bags off, to drop the children off, to just run in real quick and run out and go hang out with my friends. A few years after that, one of the older ladies, I was always drawn to the older women at Beth Salem because I was very close to both my grandmothers. I had the honor of living where I could see both of them anytime I wanted to. One lived in the house with us. The other lived in the rural area. They were farmers. And even after coming to Georgia, I knew once I got up 85, once I got through Charlotte, and I got to Lexington, I could turn off at the first exit and go by my grandmother's house that was a farmer. That door was going to be unlocked whether she was there or not. I could go in and lay down. I could turn the children loose in the yard. That was hard to let go of. Then one day, one of the older ladies at Beth Salem, who has 2 sons, encouraged me to take a better look at one of her sons, or a closer look. And I said, Mom, then I didn't call her Mom, I called her Miss Brown. I don't think that's going to work because I'm a few years older than him. But that one conversation brought the 2 of us together. And some years later, both of her sons moved away. She was left alone. She never drove, never learned how to drive. I started taking her to the grocery store, take her shopping. That went on for several years, and then it got to be where it was harder for them to get back home to take her to doctor's appointments during the week. I started taking her to her doctor's appointments. In doing so, I switched doctors and started going to the same doctor she was going to. got to be mom to me, Mama B. She got to be a grandmother to my children. 3 years ago, I took Mom to the eye doctor at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We had a good, and the doctors asked me, is she okay? What's going on? I said, oh, she's fine. She couldn't find the high heel shoes she liked to wear. And that was one of the things the two of us shared. She wore high heel shoes all the time when she went out. And I wore heels the majority of the time. Very rarely you saw me in jeans and flats or tennis shoes and jeans. That particular day, I got there to pick Mom up. She couldn't find her shoes. We looked and looked. I said, well, Mom, we got to go. We're going to be late. So she puts the flat shoes on, and we went on to the doctor. The doctor questioned me, but, that just kind of went over my head. I just said, she's agitated because she couldn't find her shoes. Finished the doctor's appointment. We stopped at Popeye's Chicken, got lunch. Stopped at the pharmacy, got medications, and I took her home. And I went home. And it's one of those rare days when I go outside even to work in the yard that I don't take my phone. And I didn't take my phone. And the younger son had been calling me from North Carolina. Finally, I went in and I checked my phone, saw where he had called. I called him back. And he told me why he had called. He said, Mom called. I was on the phone with Mom. She was saying she was having chest pains. He said, I couldn't get you, so I called the neighbor across the street. And I also called 911. I said, okay, I'm headed there. I live maybe 10 minutes away from her. When I got there, she was in the ambulance. They were working with her. And the neighbor told them, this is the young lady that takes care of her. And at the time, I wasn't that young. My hair was about as white as it is now. And he says, well, we're working with her. I said, well, could I see her? He said, no, we're working with her right now. You're going to have to wait. I said, I know she's petrified. Just let me see her for a minute. He said, no, you got to wait. I patiently walked back and forth across the back of that ambulance waiting. So finally he came out the door. He says, we're going to take her to the hospital. We're taking her she said she wants to go to St. Francis. I said, no. I said, I need to talk to her. So he said, okay, we'll let you in for a minute. And I went in, and she had this look in her eyes. And I said, Mom, you okay? And she said, baby, my chest hurt. I said, okay. I said, but we're not going to St. Francis. I said, we're going to go to the medical center, okay? And she said, well, wherever. They said, well, you say you want to go. She said, do whatever my daughter tells you to do. So we proceeded to the medical center. We got there about 7:15, 7:30 that night. And I sat in the emergency room all night long, talking to the boys back and forth. She's okay. They're still working with her. We're trying to get in touch with the doctor. The younger son, whose wife was stationed in North Carolina at the time, said, do I need to come home? I said, well, no, she's okay right now. I said, they won't let me back there, but I'm going to keep insisting. And I can be very persistent. And I kept on, and I said, look, her 2 granddaughters came by, and they let them back there, but they wouldn't let me because I was not her biological daughter. Even though I had her wallet, I had all the information they needed, they would not let me back. Finally, I found a doctor that listened, and he let me go back there with her. And we sat there all night. The older son came in from Atlanta around 7:30, 8 o'clock the next morning. And he said, how is she? I said, well, they were waiting on them to run tests, and they said they're going to take her upstairs and put her in ICU. So they had made that decision. So when he got here and his wife got there, I went to her. I said, Mom, look, your son's here. I'm going to go home, take a shower. I'll be back. Having been in the presence of other people that were transitioning, I should have recognized the look in her eyes. And she kept saying, well, I don't want you to go. I said, you'll be all right. Your son's here with you. He's going to stay with you until I come back. I'll be back shortly. I just need to go take a shower, check on the cat, and then I'll be back. In the meantime, after taking a shower, getting dressed, I decided I needed to go by the church and pray. I drove to Beth Salem. I was sitting in the sanctuary praying. And this was like 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. The son calls me. And he says, she's gone. It struck harder than it did when I got the call going to a Presbyterian women's meeting in Macon telling me that my biological mother was gone. That is a way of receiving word that you lost two mothers, and you get the word the same way by phone. I was close enough to get to what I call my mother in love. I could have made it back to the medical center. I could not make it back to North Carolina. I had just left on Friday night to come home to make this meeting in Macon and to get some clothes and to go back to North Carolina when I got that call. No matter who your mother is, no matter where your mother is, look for those signs. Follow your heart. Don't think just because it's not your biological mother, it doesn't matter, or it's not going to affect you. All mothers count. This morning, being Mother's Day, I'm deviating from my sermon because this has been a Mother's Day morning. I have 3 sons. My oldest son is at Fort Hood, Texas, on medical hold. He was hurt in the bombings in Syria. He was one of the first bombing that they had when the bombing started over there. He was hurt. He's finally been brought back to the States and been going through medical evaluation for a year. Then I have a second son who now lives in Atlanta, Georgia, who has always been my right hand and my left hand. When their dad and I went through a divorce, he learned how to cook, he learned how to sew, he learned how to do everything but comb his sister's hair. He decided, he hasn't been to Columbus in over 4 years. He decided that he was going to come down this weekend and surprise me for Mother's Day. Well, he got to Groom's Friday night. He couldn't get any of his friends or his siblings to answer his phone call. Not just because they were being mean, but basically they know how he is. So he had to call me. Mom, I was trying to surprise you. I'm at Groom's. I can't get nobody to come out and pick me up. He said, I know you don't like to drive at night, but here's this phone call again from somebody that I love, even though some of the things he do, I don't love. I said, okay, I'm going to come get you. Well, before we could hang up, he got a beep, and he said, oh, well, this is my friend calling me back. I think, let me see what he's saying. The friend said he would come get him, so I didn't have to go get him. He said, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be back. I said, well, I'll be working tomorrow. You can come by the job if you want to. Thank God I was the only seamstress on duty yesterday. I was working all by myself, praying and watching the door. My son never showed up. Went home last night, I still didn't hear from him. But I had gotten a text message from my youngest granddaughter saying, Grandma, I want to take you and my other grandma out and my mom out to breakfast in the morning, and we're going to do it at 8 o'clock. Can you come? I text her back and says, I'm supposed to be at Edgewood Presbyterian Church tomorrow morning at 11. I don't think I'll be able to do that. You know I don't usually eat And I usually try to stay quiet when I have to go in the pulpit. God said, don't turn away your child. So I called her back. I said, okay, if you're doing it at 8 o'clock, I'll make it. I'll be there. Oh, lo and behold, this son that's here from Atlanta calls me at 7 o'clock this morning. Mom, Carlos has to go to work, and I want to come hang out with you today. I said, son, I have to go to church. I have to preach today, or at least give a message. He said, well, I'll go with you. And, you know, things were running through my mind. Just talking to you on the phone, I know you're not in the stage I want you to be in to go to church with me today. So how am I going to handle this, God? First, I said I wasn't going to go get him, but then I said, okay, I'll go pick him up. I'll leave him home with the younger brother who I lived with, my youngest son, military veteran, works at night, and usually on Saturdays and Sundays, that's his sleep time or his mechanic time to go work on the family cars. I went over drove all the way from Macon Road to Victory Drive to pick him up at Walmart. And he comes out and says, I couldn't buy the clothes I told you I was going to buy to go to church with you because my phone is locked and I don't have enough money on this card. I need to go to an ATM machine. I said, they have one in Walmart. Use it. It's closed. That part of the store is closed. I drove him to 3 stores. 3 stores. We still got no money. I said, son, I got to go. Well, I'm going to take you, and I'm going to leave you. He said, well, I got to get my phone unlocked. I said, well, I'm going to take you to the house. Your younger brother can take you to do what you need to do after the stores are open. But I have to go. I have things to do. Well, that's all right. Just take me to my friend's house. This was another long story. But finally got him someplace and got him dropped off. Got back to the house, hurried up. I was partially dressed, finished dressing, called my granddaughter, say, okay, where is this place? It's on Moon Road, but is it the Veteran Drive-In or the Airport Inn? And they's trying to tell me, and I'm trying to drive 185 to get to Moon Road, trying to tell me how to get to this little restaurant. We're all here. We just waited on you. I made it there. I really wanted to say no. But I thought about the Corinthians scripture. Love doesn't be puffed up. I can't think I'm so big that I got to be somewhere to give a message this morning that I can't accept an invitation from my youngest grandchild to go to breakfast. I went. I said, okay, I don't usually eat before I'm in the pool, when I have to be in the pulpit. I said, so I'll just have a cup of coffee with you guys, and then I'm going to leave. The other grandmother was coughing her head off. I coughed for 2 months. From the 3rd of March until the 2nd of May, I have had the flu. I have coughed. I have taken anything and everything anybody told me, and nothing helped. And her son is sitting here, my son in love, is sitting here at the end of the table looking at his mother like, and then looking at me like, what can I do for her? What can I do? How can I help? I sent my grandson to my car to get my purse, and I had found my remedy, ginger cough drops. I had a few in my purse to bring with me, and I gave them to her, and then I told them where they could go buy some. So this has been my Mother's Day. I hope that your Mother's Day will be more exciting and pleasurable than my Mother's Day has been. My original plan, and I'm going to give you just a brief little bit of what I had originally planned to say to you all on Mother's Day. I wrote a letter to my mother. And we're going to be out of here quickly because I see everything is crowded. The restaurant was crowded, and I need you mothers to get wherever you need to go to have a relaxed afternoon and enjoy your meal. And I'm going to go to the cemetery and visit my mother-in-law for a few minutes, and I'm going to take a white rose to put on her grave. But my original plans was I wrote a letter to my mother. And I'm just going to give you a little bit of what I said to my mother. Dear Mama, as I think back on my life growing up, I now see I was not a very nice little girl. But I thank you for putting up with me. I thank you for loving me. I can remember back to your working long, hard days, coming home, cooking a meal on a wood-burning stove, helping with homework, getting everybody ready for bed, make sure clothes was ready for school the next day, and never, ever getting angry. I was mad because I had to help bring wood in to go in that stove. Why couldn't we have a gas stove like the neighbors? We were poor. Why couldn't you have found a different job? But now that I am a mother and a grandmother, I understand. Even once I got to middle school, I still complained. Now you have to understand, I'm an only girl of 8 brothers. My mother didn't have all 8 boys. My dad had 2 sets of children. I was very spoiled. I can say that now. My brothers always tell me, don't tell people you're spoiled, just tell them you were well loved. No, I was a brat. I was very spoiled and not very appreciative of what my mother was doing for me. Mom, I wasn't able to say this to you before you left me, but I'm writing it in this letter, hoping that God has you right where you can hear every word that I am saying. I rebelled against bringing in wood for the stove. I rebelled against having to wash those clothes in that wringer-tight washing machine out on the back porch that was not closed in. I was very angry because I couldn't get a new dress from the downtown store. You made my new dress for Easter. And I didn't want to wear it. And now I just about make everything I wear. Thanks to my mother teaching me and insisting that I learn how to sew. Mom, you've been gone for 31 years. I am 76 years old, and I now understand what you were going through and what I put you through. I thank God that you never stopped loving me. I thank God that you insisted on whipping my behind when I was really bad, even though my daddy and my brothers felt like I should not be hit. You always said, I want you to grow up so that somebody loves you other than your daddy and your brothers. And if this is what it takes, this is what you will get. I thank you for those whippings. I thank you for not allowing me to go out and hang out with the friends that I wanted to hang out with and do the things that I wanted to do in growing up. I thank you for not buying me a new dress every time something come up and I wanted to be like everybody else. Mom, I truly thank you for making me an individual, for teaching me that it's not about the clothes you wear or where they come from. It's not about how your house is heated or what you cook your food on. It's not even about the car that you drive, or if you have to walk to school every day, but the neighbor drives her child to school every day. It's about being a good person. I thank you for taking me to church every Sunday. I thank you for insisting that I learn to pray. I thank you for doing the things you did to make me the person I am today. I can't give you any money right now, jewelry or new clothes, because you've gone on to be with God. But I can show you my appreciation by publicly giving you the credit that you so deserved 31 years ago. I hope that wherever you are in the higher realm, that you're looking down on me and that you're proud of me, proud of the mother I have tried to be to your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, even your great-great-grandchildren. And Mom, from this day forward, I will not complain. I will listen for your voice to say, this is what a mother has to do, and this is what I will do. Mothers, your children might not acknowledge it, but know that it's in their hearts. They carry it with them. I think my mother knew before she left that I had turned out to be pretty much what she wanted me to be, that I was not selfish, that I did love God, I did put my trust in God, that I was a faithful servant of the church, and that I loved my children, and I did the best I could for my children. I know that there's some mothers sitting out here that have some stories to tell. Children, wherever you are, you need to hear those stories. Don't wait for somebody else to tell you the kind of mother you had. Love your mother unconditionally, no matter the condition or the lifestyle she lived. We all have things that we're not proud of, that we might not sit with us just the way they should, or we want them to. But God gave us mothers. In Exodus, he said to honor our mothers and our fathers. He didn't say the good mothers. He didn't say the church-going mothers. There are some mothers that don't come to church. There's some mothers that are not sitting in pews somewhere this Sunday morning. There might be some mothers under the bridge. There might be some mothers sleeping off a hangover. There might be some mothers doing other things that their children are not proud of. But just know, God gave each of us the mother he gave us because that's the mother we needed. And one day in the by and by, you will thank that mother for giving you life. Maybe you didn't live the way you wanted to live, but she gave you life. She didn't abort you. She didn't kill you once you were born. She allowed you to live and allowed other women to step up and be the mother she couldn't be. Don't feel bad if you're an adoptive child. Don't feel bad if you're a foster child. Just be thankful that you have a woman in your life that you can call mama, mother, my dear, or whatever you call her. Let it be something pleasant and nice. And if you can't say it to her face to face, do as I did. Write your mother a letter. Let her know that you might not show it, but you appreciate everything that she's ever done for you. Edgewood, I know this was not the sermon that I had written, but this is the sermon that God has given me this morning. And now I want to read to you the Corinthian scripture, one more time. Mothers suffer long, and they are kind. Mothers do not envy. Mothers do not parade themselves. Mothers are not puffed up. Mothers do not behave rudely. Mothers do not seek their own glory. Mothers are not provoked easily. Mothers do no evil to their children. Mothers do not rejoice in iniquity, but they rejoice in the truth. Mothers bear all pain. Mothers believe all things. Mothers have hope. Mothers endure until the end. If you are a mother, I applaud you this morning. Continue. And every now and then, read that love scripture and take the word love out and put the word mother in. Happy Mother's Day. Have a beautiful day. Thank you for loving your child.